Okay, welcome to another video. Today, what we are going to be looking at is what you see right now is the 1992 election results. In reality, this is the real results. Bill Clinton, or William Clinton is his official name, faced off against George H.W. Bush. But the real reason Many people say the real reason George H.W. Bush lost was because of Ross Perot, who was an independent who ran in the election. He was a conservative independent, so he stole George H.W. Bush's votes. Well, not stole. Well, people like to call it steal. So we're going to be seeing, would George H.W. Bush be able to win the presidency if Ross Perot, win the presidency for a second term, that is, if Ross Perot did not run in 1992, as he is considered the main reason for his defeat. Let's check. Who would win Maine? This state in the real results went to Bill Clinton, but here it goes to Bush. Bush almost won the state of Maine. Ross Perot did better than him in the state, so together he'd win 60% of Maine, which is enough to carry him to victory. Let's go. He will easily sweep across New England because at that time he was considered part of the Country Club Republicans, which would make him more popular in New England, except for a few states. Massachusetts would go to Bill Clinton, and so would D.C. and Maryland. So these states will be the outliers. New York will also stay with Bill Clinton. So far, not much change. The only thing that's changed so far is Bush's success in New England. Bush would also win Pennsylvania, which is really good for him, seeing at the time as it was 23 electorals. He'd carry West Virginia. He already won Virginia in the first time, so he won't lose more this time. North Carolina will go to him. He'd be able to take across Old South. Tennessee and Kentucky barely went to Bill Clinton. Without Ross Perot, he could take these states. The swing state of Ohio would go to him. Indiana would go to him because that already went to him. Illinois will remain, though, for Bill. He will sweep across the Rust Belt, though, and go through. He's reached 270 at this point, so we do know he will win. We do know that. But you probably weren't expecting this big of a landslide. How can an independent affect this much of the vote? Well, you see, the thing is about Ross Perot, he isn't just any other independent or third party like Gary Johnson, Joe Jorgensen, or Evan McMuffin, or no, not McMuffin, something. But he is not like that. He actually won about 20% of the vote, 20%, which divided the Republican vote into two shares, which led to a Bill Clinton landslide. So this is how he can affect an election so much. So if we remove Ross Perot, we can see that George H.W. Bush will carry lots of states. He'd even be able to carry, this is a Reagan type of landslide. So he would still lose Hawaii, though. So we'd have a pretty decent looking map for George H.W. Bush. Please note, this isn't 100% accurate. It's just close to accurate. I'd say 95%. So maybe some of New England would stay with him. And another thing speaking, this isn't today's terms. This is how it would have happened in 1992. If it happened today, it would be much different. It would be a very different play sort of thing. If you do ask me today, though, I think Bill Clinton would win if the election happened today because he's very popular and he could win because he'd be able to today sweep. Well, I guess we could check it out. What if this was the electoral map today? How would the voting results come in today? Okay, Bill Clinton would win Maine. Bush would win the 2nd district, though. You know what? Actually, I'm going to keep the 2nd district a toss-up for now. New Hampshire a toss-up. There's no chance of these going red now at the moment. This would go blue, which is actually different how it usually plays out. But I do think Bill Clinton would have won. Let's see, in today's term, if this was the electoral map, how would it play out? Well, even though Bill lives in Arkansas, I don't think he'd be able to win it. So, I'm going to give Minnesota to him. I'm going to give Texas to George H.W. Bush. Even though currently it's considered a swing state, that was because of Donald Trump's untraditional values. George H.W. Bush is a traditional one, a traditional Republican, and he lives in Texas. So both those boosts would result in him winning in Texas. He could easily carry this part, which the Republicans always do well in. Bill would carry Colorado, New Mexico, California. It would be almost impossible for Bush to get California in today's terms. Okay, now we're going to look at it. And I think Florida would still go. Actually, I'm not sure. I do know 2nd district would go for Bush. New Hampshire would go to Bill Clinton. He'd win Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin as well. So he's already won 284. But let's continue. Ohio, I think, would go to Bush. Iowa would go to Bush. North Carolina would go to Bush. Georgia, Arizona, Nevada. I think that would go to Bill. And Florida, this state, would go to Bill. Okay, that is it for today's video.